Hi, this is Shiva Rajaya from vitalcoaching.com. Welcome to my way again. The topic for this video is going raw for a lifetime. I have now probably 8 years of experience with raw food, and I'm thriving with it and really enjoying it. And if you are thinking of shifting to raw food, here are a few tips to get you going and especially be able to sustain it on the long term without major effort. So here is what worked for me. The first thing, which is very important, is that shifting to raw food was very, very progressive. I hear lots of people saying, I went raw for 2 weeks, or I want to go raw and make a radical shift from 50% cooked food to 0% cooked food within a week. And in my experience, doing it in a very progressive way, I mean over a period of like 2 or 3 years, has worked for me way better than trying to force myself into a form of raw discipline. Okay, so this is the first very important tip. Do it very progressively. Listen to your body, take your time, give time to your gut, to your intestines, to your digestive tract to adapt to the new foods that you are eating. Second big important tip, it must be fun. It must taste really good. If it's just a bunch of chopped vegetables with absolutely no dressing and no taste, it might be sustainable for a while, but eventually you run out of pleasure while you're eating, and pleasure when eating is one of the very important sources of delight and sensations that you have in life. So when you suppress that part, the pleasure that you have from eating, you might really get a little bit bored with eating, and that's not really good. So it took me again a long time to develop recipes, understand preparation tactics that were easy to use, easy to apply, and were giving maximum taste and delight and making it really fun to eat. So at this stage, I'm not a gourmet raw chef. It means that I don't go around looking for very specific recipes which take a long time to prepare. I'm very direct. It takes me 5 minutes to put together a raw food meal. I do smoothies, I do energy mixes, salads, lots of things. Right now I'm developing recipes with raw ice cream-like taste. I'm developing green juices and energy drinks for the morning, a whole lot of stuff, but it's very easy to prepare. So having food preparations and ideas, it's super important. In the beginning, when you shift to raw food, you might make some salads and get a little bit bored with the taste. So it's important to have raw food preparations that are really working for you. A third strategy is understand emotional associations, the associations that you have with food. Because, if you are 20, 30 or 40 years old right now, or even older, you have years and years of programming in your food habits. So every time you taste a certain food, there are all these emotional associations coming through. It means that it's a program that has been embedded in your mind and your body, and the foods that you eat bring back certain emotions. Sometimes it's comfort, sometimes it's pleasure, sometimes it is fun, friendship. So when you're shifting to raw food and letting go of certain comfort foods that you were using before, then you need to recreate new emotional associations, and this takes some time. It takes some time. It takes a while, sometimes 2-3 months to adapt your emotional associations connected with fresh salads, for instance. It means that in the beginning you eat those salads and you don't have all the background memories that trigger all this flow of juiciness. So you are rebuilding some form of conditioning around the raw food, and this can take 3, 5, 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years you know, before you are fully there. Right now, after 8 years of being on the raw diet, I have so many emotional associations connected with raw food because I have lots of memories. So when I'm making a smoothie, it's like it brings back all that. It's an activation. It's a set of neural pathways which is active. So the moment I'm preparing this delicious smoothie, I have all these feelings and emotions coming through which are like getting me excited about the food that I'm going to eat. So these emotional associations take a while to you know, to be programmed in your brain. Another strategy or tactic or important point to remember when you're shifting to raw food, and it's again something that worked really well for me, is to relax. Okay, relax with your food choices. The goal is not to discipline yourself within a very rigid mindset, which would be totally alienating for you. When I'm out there and I'm invited somewhere, you know, for instance, I was coming back from India and spending time in ashrams there, and they prepare all this delicious cooked food. I'm not going to go to them and, you know, sorry, not going to eat that, it's not raw. No, of course, you have to be able to relax. You have to be able to modulate and relax a little bit with those strategies. If you want to be extremely fanatical, that's okay, but you need to do that consciously, you know, so that it's not something that is rigidifying you and making you unhappy. If it's a discipline that you can sustain, that's okay, that's perfect. You can go as far as you want in the discipline that you establish. But the point is that sometimes it's important to be able to relax. You know, if you're craving for a piece of chocolate, just have a piece of chocolate if you want to. A piece of chocolate is not going to kill you. It's not going to destroy you. If it does, well, then you are in trouble because it means that your body can no longer support things which are not really that toxic, right? So a negative eating pattern will only impact if you are repeating that over and over again. You know, if you are eating pizza 3 times a week, of course this is going to have an impact. If one day you are out and you have a couple of you know, tiny bites of pizza, you know, this should be all right. You know, your body can take it. You can survive that. And it, you know, in my experience, relaxing with your food strategies is something which is quite important and essential to be able to sustain a certain diet or nutrition choices on the long term. Another strategy which I feel is very important is keep on exploring. You know, 7-8 years into the process, I feel that my body is still detoxing, it's still changing, it's still evolving. Deep on the cellular level, I feel that there is still a clarification process happening, and it makes total sense because it takes probably 7 years, I heard, to renew all the cells in your body. So what does that mean? It means that if you have certain, you know, elements in your body, you know, iron, magnesium, which is stacked in very deep parts of your body, or certain nutrients, certain vitamins, or certain compounds that are still part of the building blocks of your body, it might take a while for these building blocks to be replaced by something which is healthier. So I don't know the details from a science perspective, but I can feel internally that my body is still somehow adapting to raw food, even though I started making the shift 7 to 8 years ago. Right now, I still feel that my level of energy is increasing, that there is some form of energetic bliss which is still increasing, even though it has been 7 to 8 years since I started the process. So it's very, very, you know, very, very gradual. Another key tactic that I'm using a lot is simplicity. You know, raw food gourmet is great, but if you are able to make a meal, a very simple meal, in 5 minutes with anything that you find in your fridge, that's probably the most important skill that you can develop, is to be able to simplify everything. And in my experience, that's something that works really well because we are in a hurry in life. Sometimes you need to rush. Sometimes you have like 5 minutes in the morning. And instead of going to the local Starbucks, grabbing a coffee and a muffin, what if you can just take your blender, just throw a couple of things there and have a drink ready within 2 minutes, you know? That's the idea. I do the same with salads, with preparations. Most preparations I have are really, really fast. I can prepare chocolate in 5 minutes. I can make salads in 5 minutes. I have, smoothies and all sorts of recipes, and most of it is like a 5 minute block of time, and I can prepare something. If I have to throw a meal for like 10 people, it might take me 15 minutes, literally. So the reason why it's so easy, it's because I simplify a lot what I'm doing, and I still try to keep the taste. So for instance, there are certain raw food tools that I'm not using much. For instance, I'm not using juicing much. Why? Because I'm traveling all the time. I don't have a juicer with me. It requires lots of ingredients, it's complicated, it takes time to clean. So juicing is not something that I use too much. I don't have, a dehydrator either. So what I use is a raw dry mixes instead. It means that I'm going to take lots of superfood powders, bring them together and start mixing it, and then I take that when I go on trips, when I'm outdoor, mix it with water. It works really well. So there are lots of ideas in food preparations that are going to be very, very simple to apply, and this is what I focus on. This is it. How to sustain a raw food diet on the long term without major effort. Bliss to you from Maui. Take care, and I'll see you soon again. Bye bye.